that who are these young girls? One of them, the back is exposed, the chest is dangling, and she stood in as a mother figure to say, no, this is not allowed. The simple way you can explain it is this thing that they also say, motivational speakers, that the way you dress is the way you will be addressed. Yeah. And that's exactly what she has done in that particular case. And one of them was even very rude. Exactly. Peter, that's what she said. Well, look, can I counter you? You said, do you know that there is a group of African women that go out, even to show people no bra? Well,
Vanessa.
cultural difference. It's like the whole culture. This yes,
Yes, I'm already limited, sir.
all these
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So this is 11 o'clock. I think we can start immediately. So in the screen, I want to use the opportunity to welcome everyone to this will I call it epoch marking event. And I appreciate you all for taking out the time to join this session. And I trust that it will be worth our while at the end of the day. So we have our program and we try to keep to time and keep to schedule and not waste anybody's time as God would enable us. So quickly I will introduce myself and I will start with the welcome address, introduction of the speakers, and then we'll get the ball rolling or we'll hit the ground running as we'll say about our president when he got into power. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you all. So my name is Mr. Chibweze Maduka. I'm a legal practitioner, of course. So I practice law and I also try to find a way or innovative ways to solve problems in the legal space. And I'm sure most of us that are joined in here are lawyers, so possibly what I would say would make more sense to us. And for those of us that are not lawyers, please bear with me. As we say in the legal space, we are learned men and the rest of the people are learning. So I guess what I'll be saying mostly would be for the learned people in the house. So we've come to realize that we have a big problem in MBA in general. So one of the issues we have, and every lawyer would know, is the issue of welfare in the legal space. So sometimes the problem of welfare comes with young lawyers' welfare, depending on the branch that you are. So it's either we have an issue with young lawyers' welfare, or we have an issue with how lawyers are being paid in general. So it's either young lawyers are not well paid by their firms, or especially if you are working in a small firm, or you are doing a work for a client and you are not being paid. I'll give a case in point. I'm sure most of us here, virtually most lawyers here, when you started practice, have had a situation where you went to represent a client at the police station. I hope everyone can hear me. And if you can hear me, just put up a smiley.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. So for those of us when we are still young lawyers, but at a much younger age, you go to the police station with a client. And before your client pays the police officer possibly a handsome amount of money. And then in your mind, you're like, you are the lawyer, you should get something reasonable. And the client now squeezes 5,000 naira, or as it was in our own case, squeezes, sometimes they squeeze 500 naira before taking good time and tell the lawyer, manage this one, more cases are coming. So we've had that challenge. We've also had a challenge of doing a work for a client from start to finish, and then at the end of the work, the client is trying to tell you stories about your fee. And that's one of the things that the NBA tried to solve by coming up with the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order, which was signed in 2023 by the then Attorney General, which I think is a wonderful piece of instrument that was supposed to solve the issue of lawyers' welfare, especially young lawyers. But we realize that has not solved the problem, and the problem still remains. And that's the reason why we've come up with this webinar. And that's also one of the reasons why I came up with the idea that we are about to launch today, after we've heard from our distinguished speakers. Now, how many of us have read there's this compilation of books called Aesop's Fable. And it's a very funny story. Or if you've not heard of Aesop's Fable, you must have heard of the idiomatic expression, the lion's share of anything. I know if you've heard of it, you can just put up a smiley or something. When they say somebody had the lion's share, you've heard of that idiomatic expression, the lion's share. Okay, thank you. You've heard of the lion's share. Now, that concept of the lion's share came from Aesop's Fable. Now, in Aesop's Fable, Aesop said that the lion and I think the goat, the antelope, and about two other animals, there were about 4 of them, they went to hunt. Now, when they hunted and of course, they were able to get what they wanted and they came to share. Now, the lion, as the king of the jungle, shared the carcass in 4 places. So when he shared it in 4 places, he said he's one to choose. Now, he chose the first part and said this is for him as being the king of the jungle. He chose the second part and said this is for him for taking parts in the hunt. And then for the remaining part, he said that anyone that has the strength to collect it from him can come and take it from him. You know, the idea for us that the lion's share is the biggest share of this, but actually the lion's share tends to be the best of all of everything. But what I'm picking up from this story is that over time, lawyers are supposed to have the lion's share in the transactions they take part in, not just because of we are lawyers, but because of the amount of work lawyers put into what they do, the amount of research, the amount of reading, the amount of thinking that you have to do before you propound opinions to your clients. But over time, lawyers are not taking the lion's share. What we actually take is the antelope share, or in worst case scenario, we take no share at all. And to solve this problem, that is why we are gathered in this webinar today. So my hope and my belief, the short-term goal is that after we've heard from our speakers, that we all will manage our practice differently. If you look at our agenda for today, you can see somebody's talking to us on how to charge your clients better. If you have your own law practice, someone is talking to us on how to better run or manage the finances of your firm. And someone is talking to us how to use social media. And then finally, Mr. Caleb of Easy Read will talk to us about the applications we are about to launch today, which is our long-term goal. And the long-term goal is that I'm envisioning a future, I'm envisioning a possibility where once you become a lawyer, that there is no way within a year that you will not have a transaction that will make a difference in your life. I was speaking to somebody in the course of the week and I asked him, there's no lawyer that is gathered here today or any lawyer that you know that I'm sure even in this January, somebody has done a transaction of 400 million, maybe 500 million or something like that. And if you charge by the legal practitioner's remuneration order, you would have made the money that at least would have made a difference in your life in the first quarter of this year. But I can bet a lot that you are not able to enforce it because there is no alternative or there is no medium to do that. So without much ado, I want us to enter into the meat of what we are here to do today. And we want to open the floor with our first speaker. Our first speaker is Mr. Uche Ojembe, and I'll crave your indulgence to share his profile. I'll read it and then we'll hand over the virtual mic to Mr. Uche to speak to us for the next 20 minutes. So give me a minute to open Mr. Uche's profile, and then we'll read that out. Okay. So we'll share. So I hope we can all see my screen. So I believe we can all see my screen and we can see the wonderful lawyer there. I think Uche didn't put his name. So we have Mr. Uchenna Ojembe, aka the Ultimate Lawyer. So if you've heard of the Ultimate Lawyer, this is the person we are talking about. The Ultimate Lawyer, or Uchenna Ojembe, is a principal counsel of Uchenna Ojembe and Associates Legal Consults. So he did his law school at the Nigerian Law School Lagos campus. He has his master's in corporate governance and finance law in Nasarawa State University. He's an associate of business recovery and insolvency practitioners of Nigeria and is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. So ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual hand of applause, let us welcome Uchenna Ojembe, and I hand over the virtual mic to him for the next 20 minutes to speak to us on charging competitively and enforcing your fees in law practice. Please, let's keep our questions, and then over to you, Mr. Uchenna. Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Coordinator, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
So I'd like to share my screen, so just give me a moment.
Okay, thank you. We can see your screen now, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good morning, distinguished guests and colleagues. My name is Uchenna Ojembe. I'm the principal counsel of Uche Ojembe and Associates, legal consult, as the moderator has rightfully said, and also a member of the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners of Nigeria. I'm delighted to be here today to speak on the topic charging competitively and enforcing your fees in law practice in Nigeria. Now, as legal practitioners, it is vital that ensuring financial sustainability for us and our practice. So this is what I'll be discussing today. To begin, let me express my gratitude to the organizers for creating this platform and for all of you for attending. As lawyers, we often focus on delivering results for our clients. But the business side of law, including legal fee structures and enforcement, right, is equally critical. So while you are delivering exceptional services for your clients, going out of your way for your clients, it's also important to know that there's also a business side of it. Now, my presentation would explore the nuances of charging competitively and ensuring transparency and enforcing fees while maintaining professionalism and ethical standards. So let's dive in. Is everyone hearing me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, beautiful.
Can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. Now let's set the stage for or by understanding the competitive landscape of Nigeria's legal market. Now, our market is diverse with a mix of individuals. You have businesses and you have governmental clienteles. The reason why I'm restricting it to Nigeria is because this is where we do our main practice. And I am going to be speaking from personal experience. Okay. Now, these clients have varying financial capabilities. And as lawyers, we must adapt accordingly. It's key. So when we are determining competitive rates, it is important to consider certain factors. Like me, what I do is the first thing I look at before charging a client is the case complexity. So on my presentation here, I just gave bullet points. So when you're talking about case complexities, you're looking at cases that are high stake cases, and you have those that are simple legal issues. Now, the level of difficulties and intricacies of the legal issue would often dictate the fees. For example, when you're representing a client in a high-stake corporate merger, it is surely going to cost significantly more than drafting a simple contract for the client. Like if you're an associate or a member of BRIPAN, that's the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners of Nigeria, you would be lucky to get
Uche, are you there? Mr. Uche, I think your network is hanging. Can any other person hear Mr. Uche now?
No.
No.
Okay. 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 I think his network is having a network issue. Okay, pending when Mr. Uchenna gets back, I also want to use this opportunity to welcome Mr. Moses and Mongale. Mr. Moses, can you just say hi today?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here with you.
Thank you. Mr. Moses is a software developer that took out his time to develop the software that we are about to launch today. Of course, like most developers, they want to stay in the background, so I just wish to introduce him to the house while we wait for Mr. Uchenna to join back in. I'm sure he's having a bit of
sorry. Network is acting interesting this morning, but then
it's okay. So welcome back, sir.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if I don't know where it stopped because I was enjoying myself.
We stopped at the point of the complexities and when an associate is drafting a corporate merger.
Okay, let me share my screen back. Okay, can we see the screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I just hope the network behaves itself.
It will.
Okay. I was talking about complexities. So basically, you have the high stakes and then you have the simple legal issues. I was talking about corporate mergers if you're a member of the BRIPAN, that's Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners of Nigeria, you would have an idea of what I'm talking about. It is a very complex engagement. Okay, so just not to waste time on that, I think that is pretty straightforward because I try to ensure that everything is broken down easily. Okay, so another factor that I put into consideration is the time and expertise. Now, the time. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Please, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so the time spent and the specialization required plays a significant role. Now, when I say time spent, I don't mean you being lazy on the work. We're talking about reasonable time. And then anytime we're in court, we try to explain what reasonable is, what reasonability is. Not that somebody will give you their work and you go and sleep on it. For example, in my office, every work has a time frame to which myself and my team, we must begin and end. So the time and expertise is also important. Now, if you look at you have lawyers that have unique expertise, like areas of tax law, some intellectual properties. You have some other nice areas like maybe immigration law and all that. It is a factor to consider when billing your client. So number three, I'm just trying to make this thing quick and brief and simple. If you have any questions after the whole thing, we're going to throw it out if we would have time because I have only 15 minutes. Okay, so number three, I also consider the prevailing market rates. So it's important that as lawyers, you research what other practitioners in similar fields are charging while you are ensuring you offer value for money. Can you see my screen? Can you hear
Very
me?
well.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can hear you, and we can also see your screen.
Okay, okay. Okay, just needed to be sure. Okay, so like I said, it's important to research on what other practitioners in similar fields are charging so that you don't go too high and you don't go too low, right? Now, it is important also that while doing this, you're going to ensure that you offer the value for the money. Like me, what I usually do, some people don't do it. Like I always look at the RPC to be sure that I am not breaking any rules as a lawyer. I do it on different occasions. So I know that Rule 52 talks about, it gives you guidelines on how to charge reasonable fees, just in case you're having difficulties. At the same time, there are many things you might not see in the books. So your networking with other lawyers that have more experience than you in the business is very important. That way, when you are having a conversation with your client or potential client, you'll be able to speak better with enough authority without shaking. Okay, so the fourth thing I also look at is the client's financial capacity. That's key because all fingers are not equal. But then everybody needs legal service, whether they accept it or not. So what we do is we must actually remain competitive. That we must remain competitive, right? But while we remain competitive, it's good to consider affordability for clients because that also matter. That also matter. So there's actually a case that was reported in 1990 that that's Wosu versus Imo State, yes. Wosu versus Imo State Environmental Sanitation Authority, where the court emphasized fairness in charges, legal agreements, and including the fees arrangement. So just to summarize, benchmarking fees using industry standards is essential. But it is also important that you strive to balance affordability for clients and profitability for your practice. Now, we're going to look at what I consider as tools for transparent billing. Okay, so transparent billing for me is fundamental to building trust and fostering long-term client relationship. So it is important that as a lawyer, you are transparent because it is not hard for a client to go out and say that this lawyer is cheating me. This lawyer is taking advantage of me. This lawyer is doing this and that. In fact, as a lawyer, you're always a target. So it's important that when it has to do with billing, you're transparent. So to achieve this, it is important to note the following. What I do in my own practice is for every client, regardless of how quick you want your job to be done, there's always a retainer agreement. Here I put it as the written fee agreement. Now what I do is, because if you don't pay attention to this, you're going to allow a client to push you into not doing what you're meant to do, and by the end of the day, to backfire. You will start thinking that because once a client gets what he's looking for, it's almost case closed for you, because you start begging them for your money and you don't have anything substantial to hold against them. But then, if you have your written fee agreement, it is going to protect you before, during, and after the job is done. Okay, so what I do is I clearly outline the scope of work in the written fee agreement. I also put the fee structure, the payment timelines, and then the other essential details. Now, it is important that this is done, like I've already overemphasized, because if you understand the nature of lawyer-client relationship, especially in Nigeria, Nigerians don't really know the value of legal practitioners. So most times they want to take advantage of you. They come looking so much in need, and when you use your conscience to help them, what happens is that after you have done the job, the same person would start maybe ignoring your calls. I've had experiences like that in the past. They have nothing to hold against them. But when they know that they signed with a lawyer, they are uptight, they are worried, they are scared, they don't want to actually go against the written agreements. So that is me overemphasizing that on written fee agreement. So another thing apart from written fee agreement is number 2, to educate clients on the fee structure is very important. Educating your clients on the fee structure. Now, you could be talking to a client is nodding his head like approving what you're saying. You think the client is understanding what you're saying? No. It is important to take your time to explain to the client that this is what it is, because by the end of the day, you could even have this conversation with the client and the client will say that he did not know what you were talking about. At least or know what he thought you were saying. So it's good to sit them down and speak to them like a 1-year-old. Is important. So that by the end of the day, you will tell them, I told you, and I explained everything to you from 1 to this, whatever number. So in some places in Nigeria, they actually charge hourly. But what is most rampant in Nigeria is the fixed and contingency based charges. So like me, I do a lot of fixed and I do a lot of contingency based in my office. So depending on the complexity of the matter, what is going to be involved in the matter, you would determine what you're going to charge, whether it is fixed or contingency. Okay, so what I also look at as a third point is value-based billing. That's value-based billing. So what I do is that I highlight the value that I bring into a case. Most times, what happens for me and my office is because of the services we have delivered to people down the years, we get a lot of referrals. So now people have been able to understand the value that you bring. So many people that come to you are not paying for the time, they are paying for the value. They believe that if they come to you, they are going to get what they are looking for. You don't have to force it. You're a professional. So your work speaks for you. So it's always important to focus on value, right? It's always important to focus on value. Do a couple of things, get a couple of successes. The news is going to spread. Even the people that you got those things for, they will spread it around. So value-based billing is important rather than just how many hours that you spent in a case. So professional integrity is usually, it still falls under the value-based billing. You're going to actually build it with your time and years in practice. So if your plan is to be doing, let me use our language, against clients, these clients don't really care like that though. They don't care tarnishing your image. So if you deliver bad to your clients, very likely that they're not going to recommend you. But if you deliver good to them, then very likely that you're going to get recommended. Now, some people will be asking, what do I mean by deliver bad and deliver good? Deliver bad does not mean that if you lose a case, you didn't deliver bad. Because when a matter is taken to court, it's either the claimant or the plaintiff, or the defendant. Somebody must actually win the case. What I mean is, you carry your client from every stage. Let them be part of what you're doing. Let them be part of what you're doing, so that by the end of the day, they don't think that you just went and you were sleeping. Let it be that they will say, this person put in so much. This person actually deployed everything in this world to actually get the best services for me, but then the best result. But then it didn't go out as we expected. But then I will still recommend him because there are other areas in which he has done for me that we succeeded in. So that's what I mean by integrity. So you keep everybody together. Like in my office, every step of the way, in every matter that we handle, our client is updated. There's a department that is for that purpose. So whether it is in the court or outside the court, it's important that you keep your clients up to date. So that when you're asking for your money, they'll not be thinking you did not do anything. The Nigerians, like I said, they know how to undervalue what you as a lawyer are putting. They prefer to pay an estate agent is 10% than you that is a lawyer. So basically, by adopting these tools, you ensure that your client understand what they are paying for and to avoid potential disputes. So the next thing is enforcing your fees. This is very key, right? It's very key. So now, as much as you might have done everything you are meant to do, by the end of the day, we still have clients that will still not pay as at when due. So it's important to know how to enforce your fees. Right. Okay, so fee enforcement is a critical challenge in the Nigerian legal practice, but we can discuss some strategies to mitigate the challenges. Yes, and to help yourself. Because what we're trying to achieve here by the end of the day is, while we are providing exceptional legal services for our clients, we also want to also have that financial sustainability. We want to have that financial viability, so that you'll not be the type of lawyer that they'll say, this one has been wearing the same shoe for the past 10 years. He has been practicing for the past 10 years and nothing to show for it. Look at him. They'll be the ones that will be mocking you by the end of the day. So the first thing I do, which I've already discussed above, is what I classify as preventive strategies. So if you are very conversant with what retainers are, there are different types of retainers. You have general, you have specific, right? So what I collect, sometimes my charges is like this. You give an upfront payment of maybe 60-70%. That is when it is a fixed payment, and then we can spread the rest. Or can you hear me?
Yes,
Can
we
you hear
can
me?
we can hear you, sir. We are following.
Yes, can hear you, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
You have 5 minutes more, sir.
Yeah, well, don't worry, we're rounding up. That's why I'm rushing.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, sir.
Okay. So what I do basically is that I collect upfront payment, because like I already explained to you, clients are very funny. So you collect upfront payment just to secure their commitment. If you're doing contingency based fee, then it's important also that you have the written agreement that I talked about and tie the client into the transaction in a way that the client cannot withdraw, and he cannot tell you to pause when you have invested so much in it. You invested your time, expertise, you've made phone calls and all that. So what I'm referring to here is most times the fixed, when you say pay upfront. So they make a payment an upfront payment, maybe like a 60%, 70%, depending on what you want anyway. I'm just telling you what I do. And then it secures their commitment, because they're saying that where a man's treasure is where his heart is. So the moment he pays that money, he's is the one that might be disturbing yourself. That barrister alpha now, here and there. Then another thing I do is, sometimes the clients don't have all the money, so but then they are very much interested in what you're doing, and that's why I said you have to learn how to adapt as a lawyer to accept different levels of clients. So I also implement payment milestones. So at every step in time, a particular amount is going to be paid. So when I say at every step in time, I mean every achievement. Like for instance, if you do litigation, maybe you can tell your clients that, okay, when we reach hearing, you're going to pay this amount. So now you pay this upfront payment before you start. When we reach hearing, you're going to pay this amount. When we finish cross-examination, you're going to pay this amount, and on and on. So that's why I said you have to ensure that you have clear communications with them. It is very key, because they usually feign ignorance every time. It's very key. So the more you hammer it into their head, the better for you. Okay, so now let's go to number 2, the recovery steps. The recovery steps. Well, what I also do is, since we have now written everything down, like I have so many retainer agreement in my office. What we do is when they have not paid, you send professional reminders. That's what I do anyway, because you are trying to protect the relationship with the client. So you give professional reminders and follow-ups that you believe are sufficient. Now, when you give these professional reminders, what happens is that there are some clients that pay. Most clients, in fact. Then there are some that would call you and tell you, "Oh, see, I don't have all this money, but then I'll pay this. Can we restructure the payment, please? Oh, this happened to me. This happened to me." You would if you want to indulge them, you indulge them. If you don't want to, well, it's up to you also. But I indulge clients based on how many years we have worked together and how much trust I have in you. So there are clients that are paying clients. So those clients you can indulge them because you know that they are there to stay. Like I have clients that I've worked with for many years now. So those ones you have to always look for how to balance it, give them some concession because you know they are still there with you. Now, it is very important also that you, because as a lawyer, it is expected that you act professionally and ethically. So when these clients fail to pay, when they are meant to pay, you must apply ethical considerations before taking other steps. So don't become a mad person and go and start fighting the client and holding the client on the tie or you hire boys to go and beat the client. So as a last resort, when they have failed to pay after giving them reminders, then you can now pursue legal actions to recover your fees. Now, you already have sufficient evidence to prove whatever fees that you need. It's usually harder when you don't have anything written, but it is very easy when you have everything written somewhere. So ensure that you always take your time to put these things down. And if you have a template, like we have working templates for different types of jobs in my office. So you just use the template and within 1 hour you have created your retainer agreement. Okay, so let me move forward. So I would have ended the meeting, or the presentation, but then I said I was going to give a bonus since everybody is here.
Thank you, sir, for the bonus.
Okay. So beyond your competitive fees, financial sustainability requires innovation and diversification. It's very important to know that. So since you're a lawyer and you're in the legal space, if you are if you're diversifying your practice, what you should do is that what I do, let me not say what you should do, is because it's going to be easier for you to ensure that what diversification you are doing will be within the legal profession or law that you're training as a lawyer. So, like I already explained earlier, you could do your retainer services to corporate clients. Now you can monetize your legal expertise. There are places that all you need to do is research for them, and you're going to get paid for it. We have different people, both here and outside the country, that will do research for, and we get paid for them. Then another thing is monetizing publications. So if you're a good writer, you could monetize your publication. So you write, there are certain people that buy these publications. There are also arrangements you could make with certain um, platforms, blogs, and all that, that would enable you make some money on your intellectual property, which is your publication. And then three, what we also do is we train. So we do training programs for people who want to learn some certain areas of law. Like I talked about business recovery and insolvency practitioners of Nigeria. That's BRIPAN. So we train people on how to carry on specialized areas like that. So there are still other areas. We also have some trainings that are still coming up. Like we have like 3 different trainings this year. Okay, now there's another thing we do, because when you start having so many jobs, it has a way of messing up with your mind. You'll be so tired, so exhausted, so fatigued. This is me repeating what I've just said. So there are softwares and online platforms that you could reach. If you need those softwares, you can ask me, send me a message privately. I might just help you, because it helps a lot. There are so many things that, or so many times that you might not remember certain things. These are the platforms that would always automatically send reminders to your clients. So all you need to do is create what your reminder template is going to be, and then the software does the rest. Then another thing I try to do within the years is to build a reputation for value. So I try to specialize more in high demand practice areas. It's key, because some of them you don't even have to do so much, and then you're going to earn what is going to help you take care of your whole 2025. So it's important to deliver exceptional service first, to now build that trust, and then to attract this type of referrals. So when you adopt these strategies, you position yourself and your practice for long-term success. So in conclusion, competitive charging, transparency, and effective fee enforcement are cornerstones of a financially sustainable law practice. Have it at the back of your mind. Competitive charging, that is you making sure that you're not making a mistake while charging. Then transparency, and then effective fee enforcement. There are some clients, sorry, I did not even say this. There are some clients that once you serve them with the bill of charges and make them know that you're going to institute legal actions against them, they don't even want to go into that type of battle, because that will mean them having to pay another lawyer to represent them. Even though there are some clients that specialize in those type of things, using you and using another lawyer to fight you, you know. So, but then there are many of them that once they see that you are going to take it to the next level, that you have also shown that patience and time and understanding with them, they would reach out to you and ensure that you get paid, because financially sustainable law practice is very important. If not, you would start your practice, and in 1 year you have run down. You probably can be begging for food outside or something, and that's not what lawyers should be doing. So now, by implementing these strategies discussed today, I believe that you can achieve both professional success and business growth. So I encourage you, my attendees or the attendees of this program, to adopt these approaches. And so, you can share your feedback maybe through the moderator, or if you want to reach out to us, maybe through our media platforms and all that. We also have a hotline, so you could, if you check our media platform, the numbers are there. Then you will be able to ask us questions and we would give you feedback. So once again, I want to say thank you everybody for your attention, and thank you the moderators for this opportunity. I remain the ultimate lawyer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uche. Please let's put a virtual hand of applause for Mr. Uche. And I'm sure we've actually learned a lot from what Mr. Uche now had said so far. And for me, he talked about you should have financial viability, and that's what this webinar is about, and that is also what Paybytheline as a software is all about. To have financial sustainability, of course, what's something which I said, most of you have had, if you're a lawyer, you've had them called charge and pay lawyer. I'm sure most lawyers have had that concept. Now, charge and pay lawyer. If you're a lawyer, you've had the concept that lawyer is black suit, don't turn brown. If I don't, most of us would have heard that one. Look at that one in black suit, don't turn brown. You would have heard of, they said, look at that lawyer in shoe, don't chop. The shoe be like shit. If you're a lawyer and you charge competitively and you're able to enforce your fees, you have, I know one of the times I spoke with Uchenna taught me something. He said, investing in yourself is also part of investment. You know, going to somewhere, buying nice suits, buying nice shoe, refurbishing your car is part of those things a lawyer should do for themselves. But how will you get money to do these things if there is nowhere you can charge competitively? So if you have any question, please, you can put it up on the chat box. Now you've made the money as a lawyer. You've brought in the money personally. The next question we want to run to now is, how do you manage the finances of your law firm? How do you build your practice so it becomes a sustainable and a viable one? I remember one of the things Uchenna told me, was saying that I've seen someone that started a law firm and it closed down. That once you start, you will find a way to keep it going, but we need knowledge to do that. And for that session, we will have no other person than Emokinovo Dafe Abedeye to take us on that session. So if you bear with me, shortly I would read her profile and then we'll hand over the virtual mic to Emokinovo to share with us on how to manage the finances of your law firm. For some of us here that want to start their own law practice, or you already have your own law practice, so it will be a nice way to learn how to do that. Okay, so share Emokinovo's bio so all of us can see that. So without much ado, I would read. Emokinovo Dafabede is a Nigerian legal practitioner par excellence. Prior to obtaining her law degree from the prestigious University of Oxford, she studied economics and management, so you know why she's here, at the University of Bristol, and graduated with a first-class honors degree. In her pursuit of excellence, Emokinovo became a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in 2020 as one of the youngest fellows in Nigeria, and she's a member of the UK Chartered Institute of Trademark Attorneys. She holds a diploma in international commercial arbitration, which is the highest level of academic qualification granted by the CIAB. She's a qualified solicitor in England and Wales, and she also has her master's in law from the University of Southern California, USA. She's also a CEDR accredited mediator and a member of the Chartered Institute of Directors. Emokinovo cut her legal teeth at one of the top law firms in Nigeria, Olaniwo Ajayi LP, specializing in oil and gas matters, among other transactional legal framework. After leaving Olaniwo Ajayi, she joined Compose Mentis Legal Practitioners, where she has excelled as a skilled litigator, solicitor, and arbitrator, and has risen to become the managing partner of Compose Mentis LP. She has acted as sole arbitrator in several cases involving real estate, leasing, and housing matters. She has also been lead counsel in multi-million-dollar and naira commercial arbitral disputes, ranging from disputes over HMO services to engineering, procurement, and construction disputes. She has was appointed in 2021 as a member of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering, Nigerian's Committee on the Review of the Engineers Code of Conduct. Emokinova is supposed to reach the peak of the legal profession in Nigeria and beyond within record time. She's a strong advocate of gender equality, improving the welfare of young lawyers in Nigeria, and promoting the cause of justice. As part of her commitment to ensuring access to justice, her firm undertakes pro bono cases representing indigents who have been incarcerated for years without trial. She's an avid fitness enthusiast, sponsoring World-Centric, an annual 5-kilometer run in Delta State, as well as competing in amateur fitness competitions. Ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual hand of applause, I hand over the virtual mic to Emokinova Dafe Abedeye to take us on the beautiful topic of management of your law, business, finance. Over to you, Emokinova.
Thank you so much, everyone. And well, it's almost afternoon, so good afternoon in advance to everyone that's joined this webinar. Thank you, Chibueze, for inviting me to speak on this important topic called managing your law firm's business finance. Just as an aside, World-Centric has now become a 10-kilometer run, so that's an old profile. This year we had a 10-kilometer run, and we're very proud of encouraging people into fitness, which you also need as a lawyer. So I will encourage everyone here to try, if you can't register in a gym, walk around, do something for your fitness, because you need that to enjoy the money that you will make from your law practice. So that's an aside. Now let's move on to the business of the day, which is the management of your law business's finance. Now, for me, I believe there are two things you should always remember at the back of your mind concerning the law. There's the law as the practice, that is going to court, writing your briefs, legal opinions, drafting contract, all of that. So the vocation of practicing the law on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you have the business of the law. Now, whether you own a law practice or you work for someone or a group of people who own the law practice, it is important that you have that basic understanding of the business of the law. I mean, after all, if the business does not thrive, the owners cannot pay salaries, they can't give all the nice perks to the employees. So the business of the law is very important. And today I'm just going to give a few tips on the management of your law business. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, the first thing you have to understand as a business owner is that you are an entrepreneur. And understanding the finances of your business will either make the business or mar the business. Now, many lawyers, I know we all introduce ourselves, oh, I'm a lawyer, I've been called to bar for so years, but you have to also remember, primarily as an owner of a firm, you are actually an entrepreneur. And it's very important to have that understanding at the back of your mind. Now, many of us who have registered law practices, we register as business name, which means that we are either a sole proprietor or we are part of a partnership of a law firm. Now, because of the legal underpinning of what that means, we tend to think of ourselves as one and the same as the firm, because obviously you know that if you file a case, you don't file in the name of the business name, you file, let's use Chibueze for instance, Chibueze Maduka, acting under the name and style of Maduka LP. So because of that legal understanding, we tend not to differentiate ourselves from the business that we are doing. And there are lots of pitfalls to doing that, as I've just used Maduka as an example. Now, what happens when you collect your legal fees? What account do you put your legal fees into? What many of us do is that, yes, we've registered a company, or rather, we registered a law firm, a practice as a business name, and we now collect all our legal fees in our personal accounts. So from your personal account, you have your legal fees there, your spending, that's your expenses for both your firm expenses and your personal expenses are coming from that same account. Now, let's use Maduka because he's easy to use as the example. If he does something like that, at the end of the year, he's not going to be able to understand how much Maduka LP actually made in terms of profits. What expenses were for Maduka LP and what expenses were for Chibueze Maduka? What is left over to run the business of Maduka LP? He's not going to know that. And this will hinder his ability to expand the business in the following year. Now, this same thing can happen because some of you will say, oh, well, I have an account in my business name. The same thing can actually happen even if you have an account in your business name. What tends to happen is, yes, you have an account registered in your, with your business name, but you still do the same thing. You're still spending your money from the business account. You know, it's time to pay your children's school fees, you take out of your business account. Your light bill in your house, you take out of your business account. Whatever it is, you're taking money out of your business account for your personal expenses as well as for your business, your office expenses. You can't do that because you can't mix and match. That mix and matching doesn't let you understand how much money you're making. It doesn't let you understand whether your business is actually profitable or not. Because many of us, you know, my colleague before mentioned about charging. Many of us are also undercharging, which I will come to, because we don't have this basic understanding of whether or not our business is making money or not. So please don't mix and match. Have separate accounts. Your business account is separate from your personal account. Now you might ask, okay, I've done this. What next? How do I actually, you know, pay myself salary? And that's the beautiful thing. You can pay yourself a salary. You can make a determination that, okay, based on how much money I made in, let's say 2024, the past year, I can afford to pay myself 200K. Let's use an easy number or whatever it's. I can afford to pay myself that per month. Now you now understand, okay, can I actually live on 200K? Is it possible and feasible for me? You now get to understand, okay, is this business viable? Because don't forget that possibly you have employees that you're paying. So your business should be able to cover that, your employees' fees, your own salary, and then also the business's expenses. If you continue to mix and match at the end of whether the month, the half month, the quarter, a half year rather, the quarter, you're not going to understand whether or not you're making a profit or not. Now, another thing you can also do for yourself, similar to what many organizations do, you can decide that, okay, in 6 months' time, let us take in June, we can afford to give ourselves a bonus. Again, just like when you give your employees a bonus, you can decide that you can give yourself a bonus at that point in time, having looked at your books and know that, okay, we have enough profit to continue running this business as well, giving ourselves a bonus. This is why it's very, very, very critical. And I've said very 3 times, even though I shouldn't do that grammatically, because it is so essential to keep these expenses separate. Now, I've spoken about keeping your businesses separate. I've also leaned into having a plan, and I will call that the strategic plan for your business. And that's my second point. Every year, you need to sit down, even if it's just you're in a sole proprietorship, you're not in a partnership, you need to sit down and have a strategic review of the previous year and what you want to do in this coming year. So let's say now, if we're doing a strategic review, that is January 2025, we think about what happened in 2024, what went well, what didn't go well, and what we want to do in 2025. I know if you look online now, you see many people talking about vision boarding for yourself personally, but you can actually do vision boarding for your business. That's what a strategic review and a strategic plan is. So you think about it, how much money do I can make in 2025? You put that figure there. What do I need to do to get to that figure? What kind of businesses do I want to bring in? What kind of expertise do I want to have within my organization to make sure I can provide the legal services that are required to reach that goal? So these are things you have to do. And then periodically during the year, you can have tactical meetings. So every quarter, you can decide to have tactical meetings and say, okay, where are we as a business? We said we wanted to make 50 million this year. Are we on track? Have we even made 25 million? And if we haven't, is it possible that by the end of the year, we will make this money based on the trajectory? So that's why you have to have in-between meetings. You can't just have a strategy meeting at the beginning of the year. You have your tactical meeting, you have even your operational meeting, like what most law firms do weekly. You meet, you discuss maybe your cases and all that. That's an operational meeting. So you need to have this. And again, don't say, well, I'm the only owner of the organization, I can't have a strategic meeting with myself. That's not true. Your strategic meeting can also include your employees, and you can get an external person that can come and help you run that session to make your law firm better. So I believe that those are 2 key things you must do. Now, the third thing, after separating your business account from your personal account. And remember, we're keeping all the expenses separate. So it's not when it's time to pay for Law Pavilion, you pay from your personal account. No, that's a business expense. If you're buying a laptop that you're going to use in your business, that's a business expense. So you need to really understand what is a business expense and what is a personal expense. Now, after we've done that, the next thing to do is to ensure proper accounting in the organization. How are bills generated? How do we keep track of payments? At the end of the year, do we prepare audited accounts or engage the services of an external auditor to audit our accounts? You might think, oh, my business is too small to be audited. At least learn how to use Microsoft Excel to monitor your income and your expenses on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. However, I will advise, what I do personally is to have an external auditor come in and prepare audited accounts. It makes it clear. You don't make a mistake. There are no issues. And obviously, you show her all your billings and everything. Even the Excel spreadsheet you have been doing throughout there, you show him or her, that's the expenses and the income spreadsheet. So they understand. They obviously look at your bank account statement. All these are obviously confidential. So you can employ somebody specifically just to audit your books. And there's so many accountants, around the country. So I believe everyone should be able to get one that is suitable for their pocket. It's not something you say, it's too expensive, I can't get an audited, an accountant to audit my books. It is important that we get someone that specifically for the purposes of auditing your books every financial year. Okay. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention is the charging for legal work. There's no science to it. It just comes with practice over time to determine all the things that my learned friend has said, the scope of work, the expenses you will incur while doing the business or doing the legal work, the type of client, all these things are the factors you take into account to decide how much you will charge for any given work. Now, at the outset, when you first start your business, most lawyers will undercharge, and that's very normal. Most of us actually don't take into account many expenses. For instance, let's say you're doing, let's take Abuja, you're doing a brief that you need to go to, AGs or FCDA lots. You don't take into account your petrol money that you've been going back and forth. Let's say you have a car, but that must actually figure into your expenses when you are thinking about how much I may have to charge for this brief. Again, your Law Pavilion, your electricity. Now, let me talk about something about that electricity. Especially during COVID, many of us worked from home. Do you know that the time you spent working at home, that time, whether you use your internet, whether you use electricity, is a charge to your business. So you have to think really critically, is this business making money if I actually include all these expenses? And am I undercharging or underbilling my clients if I don't charge in a certain way? So those are some of the things you think about. And obviously your time, in Nigeria, unfortunately, we don't charge hourly rates, but you can think about it. I'm 10 years post-score. How much with my experience, my certification, should I really be charging? Is a way to also figure it out. And how many hours will this work take? Let's say I think it's a legal opinion. It's going to take all of 10 firm hours to do the legal opinion, from drafting, review, and everything. I can think, okay, my associates, what would I say would be their hourly rate? Myself, what would I say my hourly rate would be? And that's a way of figuring out what you can actually charge someone. You may not charge a full amount, but you're having an understanding and a basis to start the conversation, okay? So I think for me, these are just some of the points. I wanted to make it brief so that everyone can follow. And obviously, I'm open to questions if there are any after the presentation. So thank you very much.
Wow, that was beautiful. And that was, I don't know how to put it. I was trying to look for an analogy, but there again, if I say it, some feminists in the group might attack me. So I will just, I'll pocket that statement. But there is this analogy where they say something should be like a lady's skirt, but I won't say more than that. I hope most people that have heard that short and quick statement will know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Moki. But that was a wonderful one. And I'm sure most of us, sometimes I fall under that situation where I mix and match. I think that's what she say, you mix and match. And then understanding the finance of your business will either make or mar the business. So I think some of us are under that impression. Sometimes we mix and match, you pull in money here, or sometimes you receive money directly into your personal account, although it's your business that did the job. And that's why most times some principals don't give their younger ones bonuses after your work has been done, because the money is paid into their personal account and possibly they take the lion's share. You know, remember the story I gave earlier on about the lion's share, where the lion takes one part as the king of the jungle, another part for participating in the hunt, and for the other part, the lion says anyone that has the power can come and collect it from him. So managing your law firm's finance helps you to know whether your business is growing or whether you are growing. Thank you very much, Emokino, for that wonderful section. I don't know if Mr. Festus is with us. Mr. Festus, are you here?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to be sure because I wasn't seeing you. So, so how many of us are still with us? If you've been enjoying this session, just put up a smiley. If you've been enjoying this session so far, if you've been enjoying the speakers, can you just put up a smiley to indicate you have? You've been learning stuff today. You've learned a better way to manage your firm, a better way to charge. I'm sure some of us are. The reason why I brought this up, I know the conversations I have with Uche and the conversations I have with Emokinovo and how it kind of spurs you on to do better in practice. One of these Uche used to tell me, I don't know how to tell these clients don't care about you, collect your money up front. He said the sooner you put that at the back of your mind, I think he said it here today, that once you solve their problem, sometimes some clients will forget the work that you have done. Okay, and I'm sure most lawyers here have had that challenge where the client was being lawyer, please now, you finish the work, and then I think I'll say a funny story. I did a job for a client early last year. Now the bank has frozen their money, and then when they came to the office, the guy was almost crying and shouting, anything I can do, I should help him. And I looked at the case, and what saved me was what Uchenna talked about today. I sent him an email, I sent him an invoice, sent him how he's supposed to pay. I charged him on a contingency basis. So the contingency basis was supposed to be a percentage of the money we'll recover from the bank. And he agreed. Everything was okay. I sent it, he acknowledged. So we did the job between February and April. The money was released. And when the money was released, I even did the case with my boy here, Festus. When the money was released, they came to my office and they wanted to renegotiate. They were telling me, that money we agreed to was too much. I looked at them and told them that's not the way. They said, no, there was no agreement. And I opened my email and showed them, look at where you people agreed and you acknowledge. Please pay the money, and there's no negotiation after the work has been done. And it showed me that if there was nothing written, they would have found a way to regulate out of what they've agreed, because they felt this money is too much to pay a lawyer. But when the lawyer was doing the work, they didn't care that much. So this is a wonderful session for us. And then quickly, before we move into the launch of Paybytheline proper, I know we're a little behind time. And for the next 10-15 minutes, we want to welcome one of our wonderful young lawyers who has been doing great work in the legal space, Mr. Festus Ogun. And if you bear with me quickly, I want to read his profile shortly before I hand over the virtual mic to Festus. So just bear with me so that I can read his profile, and we can move on to that. Okay, so I will share the screen so his profile will be available for everybody. Entire screen allow. Okay, thank you. So we'll move over. So I guess you cannot see my screen. So Festus Ogun is the managing partner and head of the litigation, arbitration, and alternative dispute resolution team at Full Legal. A seasoned expert in dispute resolution, he has extensive experience in handling commercial litigation for a diverse range of domestic and international clients across various sectors of the Nigerian economy. He regularly advises and represents clients in matters before high courts, industrial courts, appellate courts, and arbitral tribunals, covering areas such as corporate and commercial disputes, labor and employment issues, banking and finance, energy and oil and gas, environmental and climate change matters, electoral and constitutional law, as well as privacy and digital rights. Festus also assists corporate clients with high-stake investigations conducted by government agencies and regulators. These include cases involving internal and external financial fraud, allegations of corruption, violations of anti-money laundering laws, antitrust and competition laws, tax evasion, and other regulatory issues under federal and state laws. He is an active member of several professional organizations, including the Nigerian Bar Association, International Bar Association, MBA Section of Business Law, Employment and Labor Lawyers Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, Singapore International Arbitration Center, Young Arbitrators Forum, International Council for Commercial Arbitration, and the International Association of Constitutional Law. In recognition of his contributions to legal practice, Festus has received numerous accolades. He was nominated as one of the most outstanding young persons in legal practice by the Lagos Youth Awards in 2022, recognized in the Under 30 CEOs Award Lawyers category by CEO Network Africa in 2023, and named one of the top 100 Nigerian legal personalities of 2023 by the Legal Eagles Initiative. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual hand of applause, let's welcome Honorable Festus Ogun for the next 15 minutes as he speaks to us on competitive utilization of the power of social media in legal practice. Mr. Festus, over to you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Maduka, and for the kind introduction. I welcome. I also appreciate everyone who has been actively participating in this very important webinar. Let me also appreciate my friend Uchenna Ujembe. Let me appreciate how do I pronounce Emoki Nuvo's name? Let me also appreciate Emoki Nuvo. And the man that made me pass bar finals, let me appreciate Caleb Oboagwina. Let me appreciate everyone for making this webinar a very, very already successful one. So mine is going to be a very brief presentation. I did a PowerPoint slide, which I had earlier front-loaded to Maduka. I'm hopeful it would help me project, but I'll be very brief as much as I can. I've been detailed to speak about the competitive utilization of the power of social media in legal practice. So for me, I would say that we have gone past the age and time where we are restricted essentially by the rules in ROPC that many have argued, although I do not agree, restrict advertisements. Now, yes, many hold the view, specifically the traditional lawyers, hold the view that a lawyer cannot advertise. Let's, for the purpose of argument, agree to that. But I can tell you that a lawyer can market himself or can market his services. And this can be effectively done by the creative use of social media for professional branding and client retention. First is personal branding. Yes. First is personal branding. A lawyer or a law firm, as it were, must build a professional brand. And this includes, optimizing, profile on social media, talk about Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, with properly worded bio, properly worded posts, and a properly snapped professional photograph. Now, that is not enough because quite a number of people are doing that. What lawyers must do right about now in attracting valuable clients from social media is to post valuable content. Valuable content. People are watching. Even fellow lawyers are looking at you. What kind of image are you projecting to the world? Considering that the world is now a global village where someone in the Western world, someone in Europe, the Americas can reach out to you for legal services, one cannot afford not to put up a professional brand that represents excellence, as the case may be. Now, a lawyer also needs to engage target audience. So I'll tell those that care to listen that, look, whatever you do in life, whether as a professional or in your personal endeavors, you must have an idea of the end from the beginning. If you are projecting yourself on social media, you want to attract clients, you want to use social media for your practice, what do you have in mind as the end? Before you start, you must have that idea. What do I want to achieve with this? So you must identify a niche. I would not know what niche Maduka will attract me with, but I know that over the years, I have built a reputation in the media that suggests that I do work around dispute resolution and human rights advocacy, electoral law, and the likes. Now, when you identify this niche, you need to now connect with people that are likely to require your services. Not just that, you also have a duty to connect with people that share the same niche with you. And you must be consistent in putting out content. And when I mean consistency, we are not necessarily talking about the fact that you should write every week, or you should make videos every week, or you should talk about what you do every week. But this is just about setting a timeline for yourself and, just be disciplined while at it. Now, you also need to leverage on networking. There are so many legal platforms on social media that there are so many platforms, whether legal or non-legal on social media, that as a lawyer, you can join and put yourself out there in the littlest way you can. I would advise all lawyers listening to me to read this book called Attorney Marketing. I will share a copy with Maduka after the call. Just a second. I would send a copy of the book to Maduka after this call so that he can share with all participants. Now, the essence of that book is for lawyers to have a clear understanding of how to market themselves, of how to put themselves out whilst maintaining the highest ethical standards. This is not necessarily if as a lawyer you are telling people to engage your services openly in a direct manner, the client will not consider you as someone who is serious. But you see instances where a client reaches out to you telling you, oh, I saw your content on this, you spoke about this, is this something you can assist me with? That is a way of converting, an average reader, an average friend on social media, an average stranger on social media to clients. Now, another important point I wish to make is that do not model up what you want to be known for. While I am an advocate of being a jack of many trades, I would also say that in this age and time, one has to be careful so that one will not be seen as jack of all trades. It is in this age and time, it is tidier to be known for some areas of law so that when prospective clients are seeking to engage the services of a lawyer in that respect, you can easily be the person that they will come to. The social media helps a lot. And you would agree with me that looking at even the biggest law firms in Nigeria, they have all top law firms in Nigeria, even the middle tier law firms in Nigeria, they do not joke with their social media branding. Why? Because it is the social media branding that shapes the reputation of the firm, and sometimes people buy the reputation. So in fact, there are some clients that you are unlikely to get as a lawyer if your presence on social media is not, if your presence on social media is not there, right? There are some clients that they can never come to you because there is no way they will ever get to know about you if you are not prominent on social media. And this is because by the time you mention your name or the name of your firm, the first thing they will do is to go and check what this firm is about, is to go and check on social media or on Google what your firm is doing. And that goes a long way. For instance, if you someone has even referred you for a job and it's a serious client, they go there to check what is this person doing. They say you don't have a website, they go to your social media pages, they can't find updated posts. Maybe the last time you posted was sometime in 2002 or 2001. They might not have a good impression about you compared to a firm that is always updated on, key areas of legal practice. I'm confident they are likely to take that kind of firm seriously. So it is the social media in this age and time, in this digital age and time, it is the social media that built the reputation, for law firm. Importantly, you cannot afford to be a fraud. I say this because some people, we meet in courts every now and then. They have the best branding on social media. They attend they attend all events, virtually all events. But when you engage them, maybe you have a matter against them or you are in a transaction together, you see they are a fraud. So the point I'm making is that whilst it is good to put out a brand there, while it is good to package yourself on social media in a way that represents you as someone that knows what he or she is doing, it is equally important for you to actually know what you are doing. You must know. If you are projecting yourself, for example, as a maritime lawyer, you must strive to understand maritime law practice. Because even on social media, people go there to give reviews. So if a person has engaged your services on the representation that you are an expert maritime lawyer, only for you to mess up their case, that doesn't speak good of you. That makes you a fraud. Or the fact that, you have written an article which was not written by you, maybe written by an intern in your firm, and on the strength of that article, a client reaches out to you, and at the end of the day, you are unable to deliver to the standard that you had put out there. That makes you a fraud, and that will not speak well of you. And as we all are aware that the greatest way a lawyer can, make income is through referral, not just by someone who knows you, but someone that has engaged your services before. So it's very important that we do not be a fraud. We cannot afford to be a fraud. So if you are projecting yourself as a trial lawyer, you must be good at trial as a trial lawyer. If you are projecting yourself as an appellate lawyer, you must understand appeal and the Supreme Court processes very well. So if you are projecting yourself as someone that does CAC or that does company registration and allied matters, you must be at the top of your game, so that even when people reach out to you on the strength of your reputation or the branding you've made on social media, you are able to meet up with the expectation that you had put out there. So on a final note, I would say that it is very important that you are not carried away by social media trends. Some lawyers will get into the gutters, will speak recklessly just to remain prominent on social media. If you are prominent on social media as a lawyer, you get clients. I'm not so prominent on social media, but I've got a whole lot of clients from social media, whether from Facebook, whether I've gotten clients from all the social media networks. I've gotten clients from, my office website. I've gotten foreign clients. I've gotten clients from even Google. Is it Google whatever? I mean, all these Google addresses and all of that. I've gotten clients from all of these places. But what is most important at the end of the day, because the world is watching, your clients are watching, your prospective clients are watching, you cannot afford to sacrifice the reputation you are building on the altar of attempting to trend at all costs. We've seen lawyers who get into the gutters just to make points. And importantly, if you are building a brand on social media that would impact your law practice, you must try as much as you can to be very careful with your political views, especially in a country like Nigeria. In the end, you may not necessarily bother about social media branding or social media. I will not say social media branding, but social media presence and consistency. Maybe if you have very sufficient, clientele, in your view, sufficient clientele that would, cater for your professional satisfaction. What I'm saying is that not everyone has to, use social media for, converting clients, right? But if you have chosen those paths, I believe that you need to stay focused, to stay on your brand. You need to be consistent. And at the end of the day, you must use this media to educate. Some lawyers, let me quickly say this. Some lawyers will tell you, we see it on social media. Oh, if you send me a message, you have to pay me 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira consultation fee. Know yourself. Know yourself. So sometimes it is good especially for young lawyers, to give free legal advice, give free legal opinion. Those ones will convert at the end of the day. If you give an opinion for free, I do that selectively. I write legal opinions every now and then. And sometimes it is from this detailed legal opinion on issues or matters that I get my clients. And when the clients come, I'm able to charge them appropriately within the limits of the rules of professional conduct. So, while it's important to build the professional brand, engage your target audience, leverage your network, it's also very important to adhere to legal ethics. But again, the question of legal ethics is a bit dicey. Most often than not, we talk about we should not advertise. But those firms that appears to be the role model, they all advertise. All of them. They have active marketing departments. Some of those employed into the marketing department earn more even more than lawyers. And this is because you are likely to get high value clients who might not necessarily know where your office is, who might not necessarily care how your office look like, but will rely on the reputation that you have built on social media. So it's very important that one invests, especially for young lawyers in this digital age. It's very important that we really build our social media brand. Now, actionable step before I conclude. You need to choose a platform. It's very difficult to be consistent on all social media platforms. It's very difficult to be consistent on all social media platforms. So you choose a platform or two. There was a time I used Facebook a whole lot. I was using Facebook a whole lot. But yeah, I got some clients from there, but it appears that there are so many old people on that space who could actually be a client too. So choose a platform. Are you using LinkedIn, where we all lie to ourselves, or you are using Twitter? You choose or LinkedIn. I know lawyers even outside Nigeria that use TikTok. They create content and they get clients. When you choose a platform or two, you have to be very consistent with your content or what your post that projects you in a very very professional manner. You may also diversify your content. It's very important to diversify. Not every time you write a wordy legal opinion or essay. Sometimes it's just a picture. Sometimes it's just you going out, going to events. All you need to do is to be consistent. Yes, you also need to join communities. And sometimes be active. I know it's very difficult, especially for litigation lawyer, but this is what we just have to do. We got to do what we have to do. So you need to join communities, join JCI, join organizations, and be active in there. From those organizations, and because you are a lawyer, you are likely to get visibility on time. You will leverage on your social media presence to even join these organizations. Also, the most important thing, I've said it, you need to be refined and very professional. Yes, we must understand in conclusion that the media, in fact, the legal practice is now extremely competitive. Extremely competitive. I've seen instances where lawyers, those ones that we look up to, will have to make PowerPoint presentations for top organizations to hire their services. They will not come to social media to tell you this. They send cold emails. People are going way and above to convert clients. You cannot afford to shortchange yourself or get behind in this social media world. You cannot afford to be left behind while the world is moving on. You have all this. It doesn't cost you anything to be professional on social media. Put a nice profile picture. Have a clear bio that speaks to whom you are, especially if you have not blown like me. You are here to blow, just like me that I'm here to blow. You must make efforts so that even if someone is going to hire your service or a lawyer is going to refer you, they see you as someone that is presentable on social media. So on a final note, I would say that social media can work for lawyers. It has worked for lawyers and it will continue to work for lawyers. Just, you need to start small. You need to be focused. You need to be consistent, and you need to uphold the highest ethical standards. Thank you very much.
Please, can we have a wonderful round of applause for Mr. Festus? Can we have a wonderful round of applause for Mr. Festus? I hope we all have learned so much. We've learned so much. Social media is the way to go. So if you're a lawyer, you don't have a social media profile where you put up your work and put up the things you do. How do they used to say it? How does Gen Z used to say if you snooze, you lose, right? They say if you snooze, you lose. So thank you very much, Mr. Festus. Right? He said that the greatest way a lawyer can make income is through what? I don't know if anyone have an answer to that question. Mr. Festus said something. Say the greatest way a lawyer can make income is through what? If you can put the answer on the chat box. If you can hear me, Mr. Festus, he said that the greatest way a lawyer can make income is through what? Anyone has an answer to that? Anyone? Okay, I think, okay. Mr. Olorunfemi, okay, go on. Agara said through referrals. That's very good. Through referrals. Most often than not, lawyer makes more income through referrals and through every other thing. And what best way to do that than if you have a strong, professional, and consistent social media presence? Thank you very much, Mr. Festus. That was a very wonderful and enlightening session. So quickly, we want to move on to another thing that we have, the penultimate agenda we have for today, which is the official launch of Pay by the Line. The official launch of Pay by the Line. We've explained and we kept mentioning Pay by the Line throughout the beginning of this session till now. The official launch of Pay by the Line. So if you are there with us, please kindly bear with us while we play a video. And then after the playing of the video, we'll hand over to Mr. Caleb to speak to us on how we can use Pay by the Line. The clients have come through social media and everything. How can you use Pay by the Line to build? I mentioned earlier that the NDA or the former Attorney General have signed the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order 2023. Most lawyers have heard about this particular order, and this order was meant to solve the problem of undercharging and underbilling. I think some persons ask the question, how was the billing template? The challenge we have sometimes is that you have a brief, you don't know how to bill a client. Sometimes, like I had a similar scenario some weeks back where the brief was I should go and help some clients pay ground rent at Aegis. Now I've got to collect the ground rent bill, and the ground rent was 7,000, 8,000. And I'm like, how do I deal with clients? And the client will not look at the invoice and say, okay, why are you billing me this amount of money? Whereas what I'm paying is this. But as a Mokinovo has mentioned, you have to put a lot of things into consideration. How much fuel did you spend? How much time did you spend? What time did you save the client? If the clients have come by themselves to do it, did you save them time? Was it cheaper for the client to use you than if they had come themselves to do it? So sometimes you don't really know how to build, or there are things, if you look at the remuneration order, there's something they call miscellaneous. How much is a lawyer's miscellaneous fee? A lot of things lawyers do. A lawyer, help me to go and get this thing at Foreign Affairs. Help me to do this. All those things classify under miscellaneous. How should you build as a lawyer? You realize a lot of things, a lot of value that we are allowing to slip through our fingers that we could actually charge if we coordinate our affairs professionally. Now, this is what Pay by the Line is supposed to do. So bear with us briefly as we play this short video. Then after the short video, we'll read Mr. Caleb's bio. Mr. Caleb will speak to us on Pay by the Line officially, and he will also launch Pay by the Line officially for the next 10-15 minutes. And then we'll leave the room open for our questions and comments. So definitely bear with us while we play the video.
The audio is not working.
Someone said the audio is not working. Can you hear it?
The audio is not working.
Communication is easier than ever. Start by creating a free. Running a law business, especially profitably billing clients, can be challenging. However, handling briefs, billing clients according to the Legal Practitioner's Remuneration Order 2023, getting paid and client communication is easier than ever. Start by creating a free account. If you're a lawyer, enter your SCN number for verification, ensuring that only licensed legal practitioner can use the platform. Clients can register just as easy. No complex steps required. Once logged in, lawyers get access to a powerful dashboard. Start by adding a new client with their NIN and contact information, then set up a brief to handle transactions with ease. With the client's menu, lawyers can review each client's briefs, payments, and send reminder prompts, allowing for transparent tracking and efficient billing. Access a wide range of legal templates available for download right from your dashboard. Save time with ready-to-use documents for drafting, references, and more. Manage every detail of a case under My Briefs. Charge clients according to the Legal Practitioner's Remuneration Order 2023, and clients can communicate in real time, sharing updates and notes, so everyone stays informed and aligned. Clients can view, download, and settle invoices in the My Invoices section, making payments easy and transparent. No more chasing down payments, everything's right here. Never miss a due date with automated reminders and a clear balance overview. Lawyers can monitor all received payments in the Payment History tab. When it's time to collect earnings, use the withdrawals feature to transfer funds directly to your bank account manually or automatically. With SCN verification and secure payment gateways, Pay by the Line ensures both lawyers and clients can trust every interaction. Are you ready to charge competitively and earn more money in your legal practice? If your answer is yes, join Pay by the Line today and let technology handle the business side, so you can focus on what matters most.
Wow, hope we follow that. Hope we follow that. Are we there? Can you still hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was sharing something with my social media manager some days back, and I showed him. Thank you very much. I showed him what Steve Jobs was saying, and Steve Jobs mentioned, I think that was as far back as 1970 something, where he said that the dream of Apple was to get a laptop that would be as small as the book I'm holding in my hand. And he said that now they could not do it. That was as at 1970 something. They couldn't do it, but they would build the laptop and put it in a bread box. But at over time, they will iterate until they get what we call a MacBook at the moment. But at the time when he had the dream, it wasn't possible to get it done. And like I mentioned earlier, the dream, and like everybody has spoken here, is to get a legal profession where we all can charge competitively and where we all can enjoy the work we do while we get well paid for the work we do. So with that, I want to read the bio of Mr. Caleb, and then we'll hand over the virtual mic for Mr. Caleb to explain more on Pay by the Line. Okay, and I hope we all can see Mr. Caleb's. Caleb Obiaguna Esquire is an accomplished legal practitioner, author, and innovator with a deep passion for education and technology. With over a decade of experience, he has authored more than 75 legal publications, including the acclaimed Easy Read series, which breaks down complex legal concepts in legal education in Nigeria. Can we meet up?
No, I'm getting this.
2026.
Someone's mic is not muted.
Mr. Vincent.
This one was 2025. It's the one for 2026.
Mr. Vincent.
I've done this.
You want for next year now?
Yeah. This one is for this year. The nomination closed the year.
Maduka, you can mute Mr. Vincent remotely.
Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So back to Mr. Caleb's. Okay, where were we at Mr. Caleb's system? Now, Sir Caleb Obiaguna Esquire is an accomplished legal practitioner, author, and innovator with a deep passion for education, research, and technology. With over a decade of experience, he has authored more than 75 legal publications, including the acclaimed Easy Read series, which breaks down complex legal concepts to improve legal education in Nigeria. As the founder of Easy Read Legal, Caleb is committed to mentoring aspiring lawyers through initiatives such as the Easy Read School and innovative tools like Easy AI, Africa's first AI-powered legal chatbot. He's a graduate of the University of Benin, the Nigerian Law School, and Harvard Law School AI Law, reflecting his dedication to excellence and thought leadership in the legal field. Beyond law, Caleb is a visionary who established the Easy Read Football Club and drives projects that integrate technology and law, making significant contributions to Nigeria's legal and educational sectors. Caleb is married to Florence Obiaguna, who is also a legal practitioner. Ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding hand of applause, let us all welcome Mr. Caleb Obiaguna to speak to us on analysis of the functions and utility of Pay by the Line software. Over to you, Mr. Caleb. Thank you very much. Mr. Caleb, are you there?
Mr. Caleb, you are muted, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, first of all, welcome to the event. I'm Obaguna Caleb, and I'm going to be talking about the pay by the line. But before I speak about the pay by the line, it's proud to note that we as legal practitioners are entitled to our professional fees. And these have been clearly stated by the ROPC 2023. And as we all know, lawyers are expected to charge not excessively, but in line with the service offered. And that gives us the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order of 2023, which is one of the new laws as to how lawyers are to charge. The previous one we had was as far back as 1991, and from 1991 to date, it is necessary that the legal charges are worked upon. Now, one of the improvements of the Legal Practitioner Remuneration Order 2023 was the innovation of the scale fees in different form. Now, the first one we have is the scale 1, which has to do with consultancy and legal opinion. Now, the scale 1 simply tells lawyers how to charge whenever we are giving out legal opinion or whether we are being sought after to consult. So that has been clearly stated. We also have scale 2, which talks about incorporation of companies and other allied matters or organizations, such as a limited liability partnership, limited partnership, business name, and incorporated trustees. We also have scale 3, which talks about how lawyers are to charge with litigation. We also have scale 4, which has to do with property transaction. And we have scale 5, which talks about percentage fees. So these are the various fees that are now stipulated in the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order. Now, what the pay by the line has to do with this, you see, when the idea of this Legal Practitioner Remuneration Order came into place, myself and Maduka had a very crucial meeting with the members of his tech team. And we said, you see, this is the best time where we can integrate technology into helping lawyers safeguard their payment. Because one of the challenges that lawyers have is not just to demand fee from clients, but to enforce that the fee is being paid. And when we brainstormed together, I told him that technology has always been the way to regulate the affairs of humans. And when technology has been infused into the system, there will be less questioning. Now, what we did with the pay by the line is to integrate AI technology to be able to calculate your professional fees automatically, because another challenge again we face that lawyers are not good in mathematics. So getting an accountant to help you calculate may even attract more cost. And technology was built in such a way that it reduced the tendency of putting human effort, but still give you an effective output. So the pay by the line comes up with the idea, okay, let's see what we can do. So I went about bringing out the technical aspect of the remuneration order. We ran it through the technology. We asked the technology whether you understand what the order looks like. And after several test runs, we could see that the technology was able to adapt with the current setup by the Legal Practitioners Remuneration Order, of which I think I encourage every one of you to join the pay by the line setup. Now, the beauty about the pay by the line is that it's not just for lawyers alone. You can also ensure that your client registers with pay by the line. So we also have our own clientele. So we ensure that all your clients in your law office are also registered with pay by the line. Now, what that helps your client to do is to get transparency in the cost of transaction. Now, if you hear the first speaker when he was talking about transparency in billing, technology has made it easy for transparency to be effective and also accountability. And Pay by the Line has gone through the various tests to ensure that this is very, very possible for us to be able to see. So like I said, I encourage every one of you to participate or join the Pay by the Line link, which will be helpful for management of payment of professional fees, and your client in turn can also see how you are charged. Now, for example, let's say you are doing a property transaction worth 100 million and you don't even know how to charge. Sometimes people think 100 million is charged by 10%, but that's not true. If you understudy the legal practitioner's remuneration order by the scale 4, you will see that there is a range by which they charge by the value of the property. It will say for the first 50 million, you charge 10%. For the money above 50 million, you charge a percentage of 5%. Now, all this calculation can be an hindrance in lawyers getting the accuracy of the fee. So the AI was integrated into the Pay-by-the-Line network to ensure that when you put the amount of the property worth, the client will also see the automatic charges they are expected to pay and generate an invoice to them. Now, the good news about this is that they are even allowed to make part payments with the Pay-by-the-Line, and you can track your record of the part payment and when the balance ought to be paid. Now, if you integrate this legal service or technological service into your business platform, it will really help you with accountability, it will help you with transparency. Even as a lawyer. So I encourage every one of us who are listening to this event to take advantage as we officially launch the Pay-by-the-Line. Thank you for your time. I'm Obaguna Caleb. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you for that wonderful one. Thank you very much. So Pay-by-the-Line is available for anyone that wants to use it. It's live and it's running. We spent a huge chunk of from the, I think we had that meeting with Caleb towards the tail end of 2023, I think December 2023. And we spent a good chunk of 2024 working on it, iterating and trying to ensure that everything is safe for use. Of course, we are feedbacks are open. Our social media handles, you can check Pay-by-the-Line on Instagram to watch the video, and also be updating and be speaking on how it can be used. You can also follow Madoka LP on YouTube to get a recording of this session. So Pay-by-the-Line is live and it's very, very easy to use, and it's an ABC where, like Caleb said, most lawyers are not good at mathematics. I'm one of them. So if I was negotiating with a client last week. So we closed a transaction of 116 million, and he was asking me, okay, how much is my fee? And another thing Pay-by-the-Line is trying to solve is, Uche taught me something. Uche said that when a client calls him over and say, lawyer, how much is for registration of company? Say he doesn't answer that kind of question. He will tell you, my accountant to send you the bill. So all this idea, a lawyer will be talking over the phone, charge me this, lawyer, you will not collect this. I know a lawyer now. No, we don't want to have that anymore. We want to be as professional as possible. So Pay-by-the-Line is, lawyer, how much is this? You will get the invoice. Give me your email, give me your details, and an invoice will be generated to you. You can pay through there. And what we are trying to do is hoping to get MBA to join us on this queue. It's that you want all this drama that we have for showing fees and everything will be totally eliminated. And it will be easy for you to tell a client, I don't have a choice. That's the least. Now, what Pay-by-the-Line does for us, for those of us that will be senior advocates and top law firms, that it gives you the minimum fee you should charge. You have a room to increase it. So what you have is the minimum fee, a benchmark that you cannot go below. So for your property transaction, there's a place you should not go below, but you can go up. I think, as we say in our Pentecostal churches, we can only go up. There was this funny video where they saw where somebody was saying, Madam, are you going down in the elevator? And the woman said, God forbid that I'm only going up. So for lawyers, we are not going down, we are only going up. So there is a least charge we should always have. Okay? So Pay-by-the-Line makes it easy for you. So my client is now asking me, how much should I charge? And I quickly went to Pay-by-the-Line. I could be able to see that if I was to charge 10%, that's almost like 60 million or thereabout. For Pay-by-the-Line, now tell you, no, it's not 60 million, no, it's like way, way lower than that, because you pass a particular trademark benchmark for each million, it's now in smaller trickles. So it even saves the client. So it's both for the benefit of lawyers and for the benefit of clients. But for you as a lawyer, you can choose to increase your fee depending on the relationship you have with the client. So Pay-by-the-Line is here to serve lawyers, and I would encourage everyone to start making use of it. For those of us wondering how you should charge, Pay-by-the-Line are giving you the answer to your question. For those of us wondering how should I enforce my fees, how should I be more professional, Pay-by-the-Line has helped you. If you don't have an accountant, we can generate an invoice and the client will pay you through any of the payment gateways we have. And once again, if you have any question on any of the use, we'll have more sessions like this where we'll help people navigate the using of the application, as well as we put them up on our social media handles. So you can quickly go to Pay-by-the-Line on Instagram and follow for updates on how the application can be used. And I believe that this is the future of legal practice. Now we have Law Pavilion, we have Easy Read AI. Technology is the future of law practice. Artificial intelligence is the future of law practice. And as somebody said, as AI will not replace lawyers, or technology will not replace lawyers, but lawyers that know how to use technology and AI will replace lawyers that don't know how to use it. For some that just joined the meeting, you can go to Maduka LP on YouTube and you can get everything about this session. Now, finally, the last thing we have on our agenda is questions and questions. So if you have any question, we'll just run that for the next 5 minutes. If you have any question for any of our participants, you can just indicate. Do you have any question? Any question? Okay, no, Daniel. Okay, no, Secretary Demudia, you can ask your question, please. You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Good afternoon. I'm so sorry, I just joined the meeting. I want to know if we can have a recording for later on. I missed a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think if you can go to our YouTube channel, I think Maduka LP, you will see that. Okay, I think someone else raised their hand for a question.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
I actually posted a question. I said,
Okay.
is the app going to be based on monthly subscription or subscription in any form, or is it as per commission by use or charges by usage? The app that was just described.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Moses, are you there? Maybe I'll leave for you to answer that.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name
Hi.
is Moses. All right. Please, so to directly answer the question, there is no monthly subscription to use the products. It is by the second option, which is commission by use. So in the current implementation, it's whenever a brief is created by a lawyer, the client will receive notification by email and by SMS, depending on the information provided by the lawyer, all right, and the NIN of the client. So we'll send notification to the client. Then when the client clicks on the link they receive, it takes them to an invoice that is generated automatically from the brief. A brief could be any of the cases and so forth. So then when they go ahead to make payments, there are two kinds of charges there. There is the normal bank-to-bank or payment gateway charges. All right, that one is handled by maybe Flutterways, Paystack, GTPay, or the payment gateways. That will be paid by the client, just like most other platforms do. All right, then the original invoice money that is to be settled by the client when they make payment comes to pay by the line. Then pay that by the line charges 2% of it, and the remainder goes to the client, to the lawyer. So the lawyer has the opportunity to either manually withdraw the money, or you can set it manually to withdraw anytime you want, anytime, any day, or you set it to automatically withdraw immediately, daily, weekly, or monthly. Those are the settings. They are all on the dashboard. Thank you. Have I answered your question, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. Mr. Cyril, so it's not subscription based, it's just based per commission. I don't know if that's
I've gotten it, although there'll be further questions later, but this one is sufficient.
Of course, you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. So I don't know if anyone has any other question. You can even ask questions for anything any of the speakers have spoken. I'm sure they are still very much here to take your questions. Do we have any other question? Any other question? And hope you know that the Legal Practitioners Recognition Order provides for cadres of states. So they have the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 states on how you should charge. So if you're in Abuja, how you charge is different from when you are in Ogbomosho. Or if you're in Lagos, how you charge is different from if you are in Onitsha. So the charges are also different, and even as per your year of call. So Uche talked about transparency in charges. That's what the order has provided, and that's what the technology has solved. So I don't know if we have any other question. Okay, in the absence of indication of any other question, as we would say in jura court in university, we say in the absence of any other business, the court will rise. So, but before we end this, wrapping up this session for today, we want to thank everyone that took out the time to join us. Especially, we want to thank our speakers. Today has been very phenomenal. I learned a lot myself on how to manage my own business. I also want to thank everyone that took out time to join, and I hope you've learned a lot and that you run your business better. And once again, we'll have Pay by the Line there for you to help you to run your business, to help you to grow as a lawyer, and help you to be rich. So the plan and the vision I have is a vision of a legal practitioner or a legal profession where no lawyer has a business of being poor. If you pray hard enough, I believe that between January and December, a brief will certainly come your way that if you are hardworking enough, which I know most lawyers are, that you can be able to make money from it. But the challenge is that we are hardworking, but we find it difficult to make money. And that's why we've introduced Pay by the Line. Generate your invoice, send it to the client. If the client wants you to work, they will pay, or they will pay partly, as Uchenna had said, and everything will be automated without you pursuing clients. If they're not interested, as our NBA president will say, use the time to rest and develop yourself. Thank you once again. You can follow us on our social media handles, Pay by the Line on Instagram, Madoka on YouTube for everything that has been said today. We appreciate you all, and you will hear more from us. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me or to Mr. Moses. You check us up on Instagram, Madoka on Instagram, Pay by the Line on Instagram. Madoka is also on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Thank you all for joining. Until we meet next time. Thank you all.